Good day, everyone. This is Lou Jacob bringing you a couple dives I did out of West Palm Beach on January 24th. So I dive right in, automatically see my first shark, which will be kind of a lot more to come. But yeah, I'm hoping to shoot maybe some triggerfish, porgies, maybe some mutton snapper, things like that on this dive out of Spearo Beach. Just kind of just out the inlet, maybe in 80 feet or so. But yeah, so I'm diving along. Maybe 10 minutes into my dive, I see this school of yellowtail, which is pretty bizarre because there's not a lot of structure around. Like the bottom is not super reefy, you know, not a lot of structure, like I said. And so some of them were good size though, so I decided, hey, if I can get close to one, there's some good 17, 18 inches in there. I could maybe pluck one, but I don't ever end up getting a shot on one. They kind of kept their distance a bit. And you see me chase them a little bit here, and I'm keeping, like, I'm looking down, like trying to track them, and then all of a sudden I'm like very surprised by that big structure. You can see my hand come up, and like I'm taken back a little bit because there's a huge wreck that I float into that I did not anticipate on being on my dive path. But yeah, so I'm floating by this wreck. I think it's part of the wreck trek. I'm not sure, but pretty cool. There's a friendly amberjack that kind of swims along with me for a while. You can get a good shot of the wreck there. But here's the amberjack coming up. But I don't shoot these. They're not high on my edibility scale, I guess you could say. So I always let those swim, even though it was legal. But yeah, swimming along there by this wreck. I also run into a couple Goliaths. There's one there, another one at the kind of a little bit higher in the screen there. But those are always cool to see. They eat a lot of fish off the wreck or off your spear gun if you're not careful. So yeah, pretty cool to see those though. They're nice big creatures. But yeah, I'm drifting along. I'm probably drifting at 70 feet. I'm in 80, 85 feet. I think this is where this wreck's at. Really good conditions today, man. I mean, good 60 feet of viz, if not more. Water temp was probably 76, 77, so I don't even have a wetsuit on. I just have kind of just skin on. But yeah, there's this cool school of tropical bluefish here that I thought were neat. So yeah, a lot. Initially, like maybe the first third of my dive, there's a lot of cool things to see. I ran across a lot of structure and stuff like that. But eventually, I wanted to get the spearfishing, shooting a couple fish here. So come upon my first one here. It's a yellowjack. He's acting real calm, just kind of hanging out. So I kind of just fall down to his level. Once I get there, I kind of just whack him and got a shot in there. I was hoping to maybe stone him, but it's okay. It wasn't too big, so he didn't take me for much of a ride. I was able to bring him in, but he did kind of tangle my line a little bit, which is annoying. That makes, it takes me a little bit extra time of unraveling it and kind of getting in my bag. But I do end up, so I'm bleeding this fish. I try to bleed it, and then bleed it after I bring it there. Get in the bag so then I can kind of keep getting after it. If you look around, seeing if there's any other fish or anything else that might be causing me problems. But yeah, so I get this. This is my first fish in the bag. Not a trophy, but make good sashimi. So I like these yellowjacks. But the tangle, it looked a lot worse than it was. It actually took me like a minute to get it out. Once I brained him, it only took me like a minute to undo it. See me put my knife back there, and then I kind of work on getting them untangled. But like I said, this was a really fun day of diving. Like I said, with really good viz, not too cold of water, quite a few fish around. It's always fun. So just a few stats on my first dive. I think it was a 46-minute dive. And my max depth was 82 feet. And yeah, about 77-degree water temp is what my watch said. So moving on here, I'm coming on. I'm chasing down I think it's a mutton here. Trying to close the gap a little bit. And the chase is on. I'm kicking pretty good, going with the current or with the drifting north. You can also see like, yeah, the color's a little bit better. I put this red lens on my GoPro, so I think that made a little bit of a difference. And maybe brightening up the colors a little bit, but I'm chasing this guy for a bit, and I can't close the gap. He stays out of range, and so the only thing is, though, I'm always looking around too, and I think I catch another fish. So this is a nice fishy area, so I go into him. That looks to be a porgy this time. But I'm not super happy with it. It's not like huge. It's not a bad size, but he's not huge. And so if I'm going to take a shot, I want to count it on a pretty good fish, especially when I'm in a fishy area so that I don't blow it on maybe missing something else. But in the end, he kind of stops, turns back around, gives me a nice easy shot, and just whack him there. So moving on, this was kind of the theme of the dive. I think on this dive in total, I saw at least eight, maybe 8 or 9 different sharks, all bulls and lemons, but they were everywhere. I mean, in one dive, to see like 8 different sharks is pretty significant. Especially they hung around me for a little while. So there's some rainbow runners there that are hanging around that shark too, but they were too small. So moving on, I'm lining up this triggerfish here. They got nice white bodies, pretty easy to hit. He started going away a little bit, but I was able to nab him. Bring him up, and these guys, they actually caused me quite a bit of trouble today. They got pretty good teeth, and obviously their skin's very tough, but this guy ends up biting my finger. You see, when I try to put them in the bag, I don't bleed these fish and brain them, or sometimes I brain them, but I didn't bleed it. It comes out, and then I push him back in, and he like bites my finger right there. So that kind of hurt. But yeah, eventually I got him in the bag, but that little punk. So that was the end of my first dive. I bring a safety sausage there. I blow up. As I'm ascending, I blow it up to the top so that boat knows where I'm at. Come get me. But yeah, 46-minute dive, 8 or 9 sharks, maybe 3 fish, I think. And overall, really good conditions I was happy about. And so it's going to lead into my second dive, which my second dive, I actually had some equipment problems with my pressure gauge hose blew. So right after I got down to the bottom, so I had to go back up, get another tank, and then get back down. So this is my beginning of my second dive. Always like to see and point out nice big hogfish. So that hogfish swam with me for like 5 minutes, just kind of chilling alongside of me. So that was pretty cool. I always like seeing that. But yeah, moving on. Fish comes in here right at me. It would be my first one of this dive, and I wasn't super happy with the size, so I actually didn't decide to go for him. But anyways, a little bit more patient. It paid off. So I start chasing. You can see a little bit better of the coral with my red lens thing, but it'll come into focus here. I'll start chasing another fish here. Start turning on. There he is. He kind of comes in at me. It's a porgy again. Then he eventually turns a little broadside to me, gives me a nice good shot, so I'm able to whack him. So I pull him in, get the spear out, then do a quick brain and bleed, and then kind of be on my way. Try to get these fish in the bag as quick as I can, so basically so I can reload, and also, you know, obviously when you're on air, you're on a finite amount of time, so I try to get the most out of my dive. So I come upon another fishy area. This has got a couple of muttons here. This one here is good in the distance, so I start chasing him. But like I said, I start seeing a lot of life around, and so if I don't have a good shot, I don't really want to pull the trigger because then I'll drift past all this. So I just keep my eye out, scanning around. Some porkfish there, those yellow ones. But yeah, there's quite a few fish around, so I like the looks of this. So I want to really slow my drift down a bit and take my time to see what else is around. So I'm scanning around, and I think there will be another fish here comes into focus. Yeah, I finally settle on something. I start going after him, but I'm still always scanning around. This guy he stays a little bit out of my shooting range as well. And like I said, I didn't really want to take a shot on something I wasn't happy with, and so I was just patience, and then luckily it pays off. I have this nice mutton swim kind of right at me, starts coming broadside, swimming away, and whack, I'm able to nail him. So yeah, switches up my variety a little bit too. Not just porgies or yellowjacks. Got this mutton to come in here. Was able to get him. This guy did end up brain and bleeding him. He had a lot of blood, so I'm glad I did it for this mutton, because sometimes when I shoot him with the spear, I'm hit him kind of in the throat or area which kind of bleeds them already, but this one I did not. Hit him a little lower than that, and so when I do bleed him, you see all the blood come out, which obviously helps with the meat quality a bit on these muttons especially. I've filleted a few of them and they've been so stinky, so I definitely try to bleed these guys. I'm left-handed, so I have to kind of swing the spear around in the fish. I have them by the gills, my left hand. So here's a kind of a porgy just kind of sitting there in the sand, and I go to line him up, and as soon as he just sits there. As soon as I pull the trigger, he decides to swim. He turns his head slowly. I had a shot there earlier, and I just didn't take it. I needed to take it earlier, but anyways, that's the one I missed this trip. Moving on, I like the looks of this area. I'm coming on one fish here, and then like a school of other porgies come by me on my left here. There's some there, but this was actually a really nice one, probably 18 inches maybe. He was the biggest one of that school, and I'm able to zap him right there. Was able to stone them, which is always nice, so that I don't have to deal with them tangling my line or causing any problems, creating any commotion for predators or whatever. Yeah, you can see the conditions these days, and they're so good. Having a little trouble getting the spear out, but eventually I do. Some smaller triggerfish come around. This is a cool little area. I drop down, I see my first lobster here. I'm not really going for lobster. I prefer to have some fish, but if the lobster's there, I'll take them. So I try to tickle them out. Like I said, I only carry my spear gun, so I'm gonna have to try to grab him by hand. Testing out his hole here, see what he's got, see what he's working with, see if I can tickle him out. Meanwhile, I'm looking around, and this is another really fishy area, so I'm gonna give it one more go here, see how I can do. So I stick my spear in. It goes in pretty far, so I realize that, you know, if I do try to get down there inside there and grab him, his hole could go back farther than I can reach. And the more time you spend at the bottom and doing this, the more air I'm sucking. So basically, I give it another go. I decide, you know what, I saw a couple other fish, keeper fish, swimming over by me, so I decided to give chase on those instead, let that puppy live. So I start chasing a mutton here, and I'm looking around, and kind of seeing what's all, there's a reef, and then there's a gap, and then there's sand, and then more reef. So I'm going over these little fingers and kind of trying to chase this mutton, but he stays out of range. I look back though, and there's some other fish around, and then I get my eyes on pretty decent sized triggerfish. So I go in at them. There's a couple other ones around, but there's one that's a little bigger than others, and so I kind of swims right at me, and then kind of turns broadside, and at that point, forget it. So I'm able to whack them, but you know, my history with the triggerfish on this day are not good, or have not been good. So this guy, I get him. I kind of get a handle on him. I try to brain him. You'll see here. Still got quite a bit of energy. But my second dive is coming to an end here, and I'm just trying to get him brained real quick, get him in the bag. My second dive was a little less, 43 minutes. I got down to 83 feet, and I tried braining him. It didn't work, so I grabbed my knife out again, tried braining him again, and so, you know, at this point, I think I have him brained, and I don't think the camera catches it, but he ends up, initially I think he doesn't want to go in the bag. So I think he's like biting. I think he gets a hold of the bag here. Oh no, maybe not. But either way, there's their teeth. It got me in the arm. Here's some of my catch. I got triggerfish, yellowjacks, mutton, porgies, and then yeah, so overall, what a great day. I mean, nice conditions, pretty good weather. I'm filleting this yellowjack up. They make great sashimi. Yeah, no complaints. So hope you all enjoyed, and see you next time. See ya. Cheers.